Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Sister Scoop. We're going to just start off by simply saying we have 2 topics instead of 3, but we will have some filler news thing for Sisters assembled in general for the last one. So we have to be honest, it was a light news week, but we'll get into our very first one, which I think most people would find pretty exciting, which is the possibility of a Deadpool 4.
Yeah.
I almost said 3.
Yeah, well, we just did 3.
I know. I'm like, wait,
So
that's
we're
not
at
it.
4. And I am excited. It did come out that potentially, based on this, rumor, both Ryan and Hugh may be up for it. It does make me, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit nervous, only because the only other franchise that has gone to 4 so far that we've actually seen a finished product was, of course, Thor, in which he took 6 steps back to the 3 steps he took forward with Ragnarok. So I am a little nervous, but it does sound like they're all potentially coming back. I think if Sean Levy comes back, they all seem to get it. So maybe it'll be okay. Something about the number 4 now makes me really nervous. I'm probably going to feel the same way about Spider-Man 4 because maybe this is the universe telling everyone we need to just stick to trilogies. I don't know, but I saw it and I was like, yay. But then also, my one experience has been relatively lackluster.
Yeah, I think I have concerns from a different angle, and that's just when you do something so well, why try again? And I know that's maybe a very small thought, and that's maybe just my personal way of life and how I go about living, but you did something so incredible with Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine. And I just don't know if you can replicate that level again. Now, let's be clear. Deadpool has had an incredible trilogy. I would argue he is probably the only one that top tier has had that kind of trilogy. Cap's had a great one. I'm not going to lie, but I personally think Deadpool supersedes his. That being said,
I would agree.
Yeah. That being said, what do you do for a 4th movie? But also everything before has taught me that this should work, right? So it's kind of like I have the concerns. I think too, I'd love to see Hugh come back as Wolverine, kind of see that story get expanded. But what do you do that's different? How do you bring new material to both of these characters together again? What's the big stake this time? Because your stakes have to still increase when you do a movie like that. When you deal with the multiverse like that, you can't take a step back now. So I think that's where I am concerned. In theory, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think you actually put a finer point on my feelings, because obviously I feel the way I feel about Thor 4, and that's just setting a precedent, and that makes me nervous. But I think that you articulated it so well. It's the question of this was magic once, the same way that Ragnarok was magic, but then what if you're trying to replicate that or take it further and it goes off the edge, right? And to your point, how are you telling new stories? And I don't know that we need Hugh back as Wolverine, right? We're moving into an era where we're trying to be forward thinking when it comes to the X-Men. We're getting a whole new set. So do we need this, Wolverine out here doing something, different on the side? And look, I don't ever want to shade Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He is a legend. But this kind of goes back to even the Tony Stark conversation we were having. Let them go out on a high note. I would be absolutely devastated if they made this movie and it sours in any way Hugh's amazing legacy in playing this character. I think that's the other concern that you have to think about when you talk about doing a Deadpool 4 in which those two are back together.
I totally agree. And I actually think my concern does lie more with Hugh coming back than Deadpool 4 as a whole, because I don't think it's weird to have another Deadpool movie. Deadpool didn't say goodbye. That's not the point, in my opinion. Although I understand, how do you do that and not have Wolverine in it now, because he's in his universe. So I understand why they're now almost a package deal, but I struggle with, you gave him a better ending. I mean, let's agree. Logan had a great ending. It was a hero's demise. They did not undo that by doing what they did here, but they gave him a happier ending. They gave a different Wolverine a happier ending. So we got 2 great endings for that character, for the character played by Hugh Jackman. And I think that's it for me. That's what I want to see. And I think I have that concern that we go back to it and that's not what we get. Deadpool 4 in general, yeah. Hello. I'm expecting him in the MCU fully. Like, I'm still missing that. So I do want another movie, but I think my concern is biggest with the Hugh Jackman part of it.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
Cool. Well, moving on to our next one, which is completely in another direction. Could we get more Werewolf by Night? For a reminder to everybody, like 2 years ago, I think, this was the special presentation for October. We have heard literally not a single thing about it since, so this is news.
Yeah, I'm super excited by this. If y'all remember, I was like in love with Werewolf by Night. Gael Garcia Bernal is actually one of my like actors that I follow. If y'all didn't know, I was a Spanish major in college, so I watched a lot of his films for classes, and I kind of like got it really into him. So when I found out that he was going to be the MCU, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'm so excited. And then I really loved the special presentation. I thought it was so stylistically well done. It was very much different from anything that they'd done previously. It paid homage to so many, amazing films that were in that genre, very early in Hollywood's history. And I just thought, honestly, it was like a near perfect piece of content. And then it's been radio silent. But as we've talked about, even in, Agatha All Along, there are characters here, Jennifer, for example, who are related to characters in Werewolf by Night. So there are certainly opportunities for them to, and those characters to have connections with characters that we've now met in the last 2 years. And I think as that, that magical kind of mystical horror type realm expands now with Agatha, it just gives more and more opportunity to see these folks again. And I really want to see it. Side note, bring back the special presentations. Where did those go? Because I really liked those.
Yeah, I think what I have to add here, just to maybe color some things in a little bit, what I was hearing was they are going to possibly have more expansion on this character, but it wouldn't be until after Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. I could be wrong, but that's what I was seeing. And so I think while I would be excited to get more because I actually really enjoyed Man-Thing.
Love that guy.
He was great. But obviously I'd be excited to have more. I also really enjoyed the special presentation. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I guess I'm also stuck because it's like, okay, so we did that in what, 2022? And it's 2024. 2 years later, almost exactly just about. And you're telling me I have to wait until what, 2027, 2028 roughly for Secret Wars Doomsday, which means I'd assume the year after. So possibly like 2029 to even get something revolving this character and Man-Thing if they're a package deal. So I guess my thing's like, I'm starting not to care. And I think that's where I'm like,
that's fair. I mean, look, where Katie's coming from, just a little bit of background, is the director has basically come out and said, like, look, my characters were kind of deprioritized. Like, clearly they're focusing on this whole multiverse thing right now. And this sort of magical, mystical horror fantasy realm that we're kind of hodgepodging all together, that is really not, the priority. Obviously, we're getting Agatha right now, so it is kind of popping up in relevance. But I think there is potentially room for hopefully like a smaller project before, Secret Wars and Doomsday and all of that, because, maybe it's a special presentation, or we are theoretically still getting Blade next year. Like, those characters fit into that realm. Is it an end credit scene? Like, I think there are small ways to your point, keep us interested in these characters so we're not having a 7-year gap between the last time we saw them. Maybe, at the end of even Agatha, if, Jennifer has these connections, who knows? But I'm hoping that as we get into more of the mystical stuff, now we have Wiccan, like, there are just opportunities to expand and, even just seed them a little bit so that we're having breadcrumbs instead of just nothingness for 7 years.
Yeah, no, and that's where my concern lies, is if we don't have breadcrumbs in any way, again, special presentations, at the end of the day, technically they could be like, we never had to do anything with these characters ever again. We could have left this in that special presentation. It's a special presentation for a reason, and moved on. And I technically can argue with them. I get it. But if you're going to talk about bringing them further, and I think that was everybody's hope and thought process, because we also only had 2 special presentations, and one of them was the Guardians Christmas special. So it's like we knew those characters anyway. If you're going to do this, we're still going to assume you want us to know these characters for a reason. If you're going to wait 7 years to do anything with them, again, I'm simply not going to care. I really won't. It's not the same. I have no connection to them yet. I honestly forgot that special presentation happened. I'm going to be honest.
I did too, which is so annoying because I really, really liked it. I'm pretty sure if you look back at my 2022 review, it was in a top 3 list for me.
We loved it. We both, and actually, no, we weren't home, but we were home. I feel like we both were home for some reason, and we didn't watch it together, but I do remember I think we were together talking, I don't know, somewhere around
You're
that
thinking
timeline.
About Guardians. We watched the Guardians special together because it came out over
No,
Thanksgiving.
because you were still living at home. Regardless, we're going to get on a tangent with this. We're going to get on a tangent with this. I'm going to save everybody from that because this is going to be an off-thing argument we're going to get into. But
we'll circle back with the answer, the real answer at a later date.
Yeah, we'll circle back next week. One last topic, which isn't really a real topic, but we have to announce. We're going to be honest, guys. We forgot that we do predictions for movies. And so while we were stressed out trying to figure out how to do our reactions to Venom 3 and our reactions to the Agatha episode coming out that week, we forgot to do predictions completely for Venom. So we are going to kind of shuffle around a little bit. We're going to do a short segmented, 15, 20-minute predictions. Really quick. You'll be able to watch them here on our YouTube channel, the full episode. You'll also be able to watch clips on our Instagram. It happens.
Occasionally, we just forget to schedule stuff, and this was one.
And at the end of the day, this is what happens when things overlap, and we've been really good so far, but it does happen. Things fall through the cracks. So just keep an eye out for that. We will not have an official podcast episode, but we will have, very similar to a Sister Scoop, kind of short segment. It'll be our special presentation for October. But make sure you guys are keeping an eye out for that, and also come back next week for another round of Sister Scoop. See ya.